Hi, hello everyone. Hi, welcome to today's Focus 6 to 7 at 4 in the afternoon. My name is Seán. Not had me in a webinar before. I am Irish and I teach in Milan in the school on Via Meravigli. I teach with the lovely Michelle.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle. If you've been here before, you might have seen me. I am a teacher in Meravili with Sean, and I am originally from Pakistan, and I've been living in Milan for about 3 years now.
Mm-hmm. Great. So can everyone please introduce themselves in the comments? Say your name and where you come from. Let us know. It's always great to see who's here so that we can get to know you a little bit in the webinar.
hmm
So anyway, today's topic is travel agency. Michelle, do you want to introduce this while they introduce themselves?
Absolutely. In this focus activity, we are going to talk about traveling. We are going to use this focus to describe places, learn how to describe places, and we are going to look at language we could use in a travel agency.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So tell us about your travels, about where you come from. Do you like to travel? Let us know, please. Introductions. So anyway, to begin, we have the different forms of transport with which you can go traveling. So I like traveling by bus, the first picture, by plane, the second picture, by train, the third picture, by motorcycle. There's no motorcycle pictured, but I'm sure you know what a motorcycle is. And by camper, which is this picture in the middle and the bottom. And then we also have I like going on a cruise. So I suppose the most important thing here is the use of by, the preposition by. So I like traveling by bus, by plane, and also using the gerund, traveling with I like. Yeah?
hmm
And then we also have I like going on a cruise, which is it's the same, yeah? So what do you like, Michelle?
Okay, I like traveling by bus, especially when I'm traveling within a country, because I do like to look at the landscape and admire it. For
Mm-hmm.
and the landscape in Europe and especially Italy is incredibly beautiful. And I love taking in that scenery as I'm traveling.
Okay.
Um, I like traveling by plane because it's quick and it's efficient, but it is bad for the environment. So I try to limit the number of flights I take.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind traveling by boat, but I'm not very fond of it because sometimes I get seasick.
Yes. So
Um,
seasick.
so seasick is when you are traveling by boat or by ship or by anything that moves on the water, and the movement makes you feel like you're going to throw up. You know,
Mm.
you're gonna vomit. That's a weird word.
Vomit.
Yeah, I hate that word. Okay,
Yeah.
it's very similar in Italian as well.
Yeah. Yeah. But throw up is the more polite way to say it, I think, to throw up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I actually get motion sickness in general from it's especially bad in cars And buses, I don't like taking the bus
Mm-hmm.
because I get all kinds of motion or travel sickness. So it's not, I mean, it's on the sea as well, but it's also in cars for me. So for me, I like the train. I like traveling by train and I like traveling by plane because I find those are very steady. You don't feel the same
Yeah.
motion sickness. Yeah. We have a comment from Dario. He says, "Hello. Can you please tell us where you're from, Dario? We'd love to know. And do you like traveling by bus, by plane, by boat, by train, by motorcycle, by camper? Let us know. Have you ever ridden a motorcycle, Michelle?"
I have been a passenger on several motorcycles, but I have never actually ridden a motorcycle myself. The reason
Okay.
being my mother, as many many other reasons. My mother is petrified that I am going to climb on a motorbike, take it out for a drive, and injure myself. So she prefers I don't ride a motorbike. But when I am old enough, I don't know how old that's going to be. I'm 30 already. When
When you're 60.
I am not afraid of my mother, I will ride a motorbike. I think they are incredible. I really appreciate how beautiful and fast they are.
Yeah. No, I've never been on a motorcycle, and I think I'm with your mother. They just seem very, very dangerous to me. They're very fast, very efficient, especially for getting through traffic. They can't be
Hmm.
stopped. But not for me. I prefer the train and the plane, just steady things. Yeah.
Correct. Anything with four wheels.
Definitely, definitely.
What about you,
Okay,
Dara?
let's keep it
Write to
moving.
write to us and let us know what do you like.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, describing a destination. We have some questions here, all, all about Paris. So we should read through these questions.
Absolutely. What is Paris like? What can you see there? How is the food? What are the hotels like? How expensive is it? What can you do there? What's the weather like?
So through these questions and what they mean, because they can
Hmm.
sometimes be confused. Another, what is Paris like? What is Michelle like? What is Italy like? What is your car like? This is quite confusing for people who are
Hmm.
not English speakers because we know
Absolutely.
like is the verb you use to talk about your preferences, the things you enjoy. We had it a moment ago to talk about I like traveling by, but when you have what at the beginning of the question and like at the end, so what is Paris like? What is Michelle like? What is your dog like? Any person, place, or thing, you're asking for a description. You're asking to find out what this place, how it is, the way that it is. This is what is like. Yes.
Hmm.
We have what can you see there? So what can you see? What is it possible to see? Can is a modal verb that's talking about possibility. What is possible to see? Again, what are the hotels like? A description of the hotels. And yeah, what is the weather like? Again, what and like. So let's discuss these questions. And if any of you out there have been to Paris, or even if you haven't, please guess and answer the questions in the comments, and we'll discuss them between us. So, Michelle, have you been to
Mhm.
Paris?
I haven't.
Okay, I have. So maybe you should ask me
Mhm.
these questions.
Absolutely. What is Paris like?
It's a big question, certainly. I would say Paris is it's romantic, as people imagine.
Mhm.
It's very beautiful. It's very picturesque. It's very picturesque. It's like a postcard, like a painting. It's very attractive. It's a very big city. It's very busy and bustling. Yeah.
So, bustling. You use the word bustling as well. How would
Yeah.
you use that word?
So I would say bustling is kind of busy, chaotic, a lot of activity, busy roads, busy streets, a big city full of activity. Yeah.
Mhm.
Paris is a very big city, the biggest city I've ever been to.
And what did you see there? What can you see there?
So there's lots to see. There are many sights to sightsee in Paris, sightseeing, visiting the monuments of a city to sightsee. And you can see in
Mhm.
the pictures, you have the Louvre Museum, which I went to, and it's a very, very big museum. Lots of art, famously the Mona Lisa, which is very difficult to see actually because it's so small and the room is so full of people. And then we have the Arc de Triomphe, which I went to the top of to see the view of the Champs-Élysées, the main street of Paris. I also was lucky enough to go to Notre Dame before the fire. So
Wow.
yeah, now I'm one of the lucky few that got to see it before that. And the Eiffel Tower, I did not go to the top of because I thought uh, I don't like heights and there is too many people. I suffer a bit from vertigo sometimes.
Right.
Uh,
And I totally understand too many people. Like it would dissuade me from doing something if there was a very long line. So was there a very long queue?
yeah, there was a very long queue at a lot of these things. There was a very long queue. Paris is a very touristy place. Lots and lots and lots of tourists. For the Louvre, I had to queue for maybe 45 minutes to enter, which was it was a lot, but I think it's worth it, yes. So the
Definitely.
queue is the line. Yeah.
And did you eat food over there, or did you only have junk food and things like that? Did you
No,
try
no.
local cuisine?
Yeah, it's difficult in Paris because a bit like Milan, everywhere is either very expensive or very touristy. It's not so easy to find the authentic places. But
Mhm.
I really like French food. I like
Mhm.
moule frites, mussels in English, and
Mm,
beef bourguignon and pate, croque madame, all of these things. I like French food, so I was happy eating there in the brasseries, which are very atmospheric, very particular.
lovely. And what about the hotels? Where did you stay? Did you stay in a hostel? Did you stay in a five-star suite?
I did not. Paris has very many wonderful five-star hotels, but
Hmm.
at no none of the times I have been has my budget allowed for that. I am lucky enough to have many friends who have been in Paris in the past. Some of them are still there, and I have usually found one of them to stay with, or I have booked an Airbnb, so a little apartment for me and my friends.
Nice.
Hmm.
And how expensive did that turn out to be?
Yeah, Paris is certainly not cheap. Um, uh, because I was always with a large group of friends, we split the cost of accommodation, and that was
Fantastic.
okay. In
Hmm.
Paris, the tricky thing is that the little things cost a lot of money. You know, maybe you go to a cafe and you get a coffee and
Right.
they want €7 for it. You know, it's this kind of craziness. So yeah, definitely the most expensive place I've been, but it's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Even I suppose if you were just to go for a short period, just to experience the city, I think
Mm,
it's nice.
yeah.
Okay, and what did you do? You said you went to the Louvre, you waited 45 minutes in line. What else did you do?
Yeah, so there's the sites in Paris which are definitely worth visiting. But I
Hmm.
think it's nice just to walk around in Paris, to get the atmosphere of the place, to go to the cafes. There's lots of very beautiful boutiques and shops, and the parks are really beautiful, and the people are not the friendliest, but they're very interesting. It's very interesting to see them walking around, living their lives.
Right. And the
Mhm.
weather, how did you find the weather there?
So, the times I've been in Paris, the weather has been at very different extremes. I went once in February and it was snowing. It was really cold. I think -3 or 4, something like that. And then I was there in summer as well, and there was a heat wave, and it was 37 degrees.
Whoa.
So two big extremes, but generally it's quite a mild climate. A little bit colder than Italy, but similar generally, I think.
Okay. If you guys have been to Paris, write to us and let us know about where
Yeah,
you've traveled. It would be interesting to hear about your experience. Now that Sean's told us about his, maybe it's a little different, maybe it's very similar, but either ways, we'd love to know.
yeah, please do tell us. So now we're moving on. We're going to talk about Barcelona, which I have not been to. Have you been to Barcelona,
I
Michelle?
have not been to Barcelona.
Okay. Well, we're going to have to play a bit of a guessing game then. And if,
Absolutely.
yeah, if any of our viewers have been, they will have to let us know the real answers, enlighten us about
Hmm.
Barcelona. Definitely somewhere I would like to visit.
Me too. Actually, we were planning to go to Madrid and Barcelona in April. The end
Oh,
of True, end of April, beginning of May, because I've never been to Spain, and so I thought that would be the perfect time. It's not too hot, but it's warm enough to have fun outdoors, and I know Spain is so beautiful, so that
Yeah. Mm. Yes, at the moment they're having problems like us in Spain, I think. So
yeah.
we have to stay put. But anyway, what is Barcelona like? What do you think, Michelle?
Okay, so I've done a lot of research in preparation for my trip, which I don't think is happening this year. But I would say the first thing I would say that it's very cosmopolitan.
Oh, that's a great word. What does that mean?
It means that in when you call a city cosmopolitan, you are saying that it is a big city and it's very progressive. There are lots of people, and
Mhm.
it's people from different walks of life. So you have a very diverse population.
Yes, very good. Yeah. Yeah, I have a cousin who lived very many years in Barcelona, and she had friends from all over the world living in Barcelona. She was Irish and she was friends with Italians, South Americans, Asians, the whole world. Mm.
Fantastic.
Okay, we have Ivano watching. Ivano, please, please, if you've been to Barcelona, tell us all about it. Or Paris, or just talk about your travels. Feel free to share anything at all. So, what
Um,
were you planning to see in Barcelona, Michelle?
well, Barcelona is known to be historical as well
Mm,
because it has some Roman influences. And I think they have a Barcelona City Museum, and there are some important artifacts from the Roman Empire there. Then there's a medieval part of Barcelona, which is very interesting. And then you have a lot of a lot of history from the Spanish Civil War and the Franco period.
yeah, yeah. Definitely a lot of interesting background in the city, yeah. And certainly in the pictures here, I must admit I just know the Sagrada Familia, which
Hmm.
looks pretty spectacular. I don't actually know any of the other monuments that they have here.
They have the Casa Mila,
Hmm.
which is Gaudi's masterpiece housing art venture.
Okay.
Then they have the Gothic Quarter, which is where the medieval buildings are. They have Picasso's museum,
Hmm.
which is very exciting. Then they have Casa Bartolo. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. These were apartments designed by Gaudi. So
Yeah.
they have the weird Halloween-esque balconies.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like Gaudi. I think his stuff is great. It's really interesting. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then they have and I've spoken about this in several webinars that I really enjoy markets. And they have one of the most amazing markets. It's called a bouqueria. So it's supposed to be very diverse, a very cosmopolitan public market.
Okay. So food market.
Hmm.
Okay, great. Yeah, and they also have the beach, a picture of the beach, which is another great thing. It's a very big city which is on the sea. You can go to the beach, and it's
Hmm.
a really beautiful coastline, I think, there. Yeah. So, what about the food? Any ideas about Spanish food, Michelle?
Absolutely. So I think the best thing to eat in Barcelona, what I would really like to try is something called bombas. It's similar to a croquette. So it's made of meat and mashed potatoes, and it's formed into a ball. Then that's covered in breadcrumbs and it's fried.
That sounds good.
It does good. Then, of course, the quintessential Spanish omelet.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Um,
Yeah. Is tapas a Madrid or Barcelona thing?
I think tapas might be a general Spanish thing. You know, like aperitivo is a general Italian thing.
Mm. Yeah, I because there's definitely a big rivalry between Madrid and Barcelona, so I'm not really sure. Anyway, so what are the hotels like? Where were you planning to stay, Michelle?
Honestly, I was going to Airbnb it. I
Hmm.
was going to rent out an Airbnb because it is more affordable and more convenient than a hotel because hotels in Barcelona can be expensive, especially
Okay, Michelle has been disconnected. Hopefully she can come back and tell us the end of that thought. Um, in the meantime, we have what can you do there? What's the weather like? So what can you do there? What can you do there? If you decide what can you do there? Uh, go swimming at the beach, snack, Mhm. Okay, Michele, can you hear me now? Can you? I don't know. I think maybe there's some problems with the website, which have prevented Michelle from continuing, and maybe they're affecting the audio as well. Can you hear me? Please do let me know if you're still there. We do have a few viewers, so please comment if you're having trouble with the connection, if you can't hear us, and we will try and resolve this problem. Yeah? Okay. So please send in a comment if that's an issue. In the meantime, I will move on with the slides. So definitely keep letting me know if there's problems so that I can gauge the situation. Okay, so onward we go. So New York. So again, for New York, we have these same questions, these same queries. What is New York like? What can you see there? How is the food? What are the hotels like? How expensive is it? What can you do there? So the very same questions about a whole other city. Unfortunately, I have not been to New York. I have not visited New York. Just a grammar point here. I have not been, I have not visited. You may or may not be familiar with this. So oh, hi, Michelle, you're back.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I don't know why my internet just gave up, and then it
No, there seems to have been some problem. Michaela couldn't hear me, so I'm not sure what the situation is now, but I can hear you anyway. You can hear me.
yes.
Hmm. So we've moved on to lovely New York.
Mm.
I was telling them that I have not been, I have not visited, which is the present perfect, which is certainly a little bit above your current level, maybe. But it's worth saying that this is the way that we talk about experiences, especially about what you visited and have not visited. So the form is have with the past participle. I have visited, I have been, I have not been. So I could say I have not. I could say I didn't ever go to New York. I could say that, but it's much more common to use the present perfect in these situations. So that's just a
Mhm.
little note. Don't worry about it too much. It's not the focus today. We're talking about the destinations. Okay. So Michelle, have you been to New York? Because I haven't.
No, I haven't. I haven't, but I do have a friend from New York, and I went to law school with her, and she did not like it in particular because she
Oh,
said it was very loud, and that wasn't the problem. The problem was it was very crowded, overcrowded, and really dirty, and
oh,
smells quite bad.
really? Yeah, I have heard that about New York. I have a friend there living there at the moment. She really loves it, but she has said that it smells bad and it's very dirty and there's I think a lot of rats. I've heard that, a lot of rats everywhere. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think it's really maybe one of the biggest cities in the world, one of the most cosmopolitan places in the world. So much
Hmm.
opportunity, so many events, things like this. So yeah, I think it has its ups and its downs, maybe. So again,
Absolutely.
what can you see there? So what do we have in these pictures, Michelle?
Hmm. So first up, we have the Statue of Liberty,
Hmm.
right? And this is interesting in New York because I don't know if everyone knows this, but it was actually gifted by by the French.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was after the revolution, I think.
Hmm.
It was well done. Yeah.
Okay, what else can we see here? We can see the Empire State Building.
Mhm. Yeah, I think New York is very famous for all its skyscrapers. I think it was the first place in the world to have skyscrapers. So I think the world's oldest skyscrapers are all in New York.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then we have the what looks like the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah, yeah, it's a very big, famous bridge. Yeah, so Barcelona and Paris were certainly more more historical cities. Do you prefer kind of historical architecture or very big modern architecture with skyscrapers, Michelle?
No, I prefer historical architecture, but I think that's such a personal it's such a personal thing because it's really based on your personal preference, your taste, your experiences. And I know I prefer historical styled buildings over really modern skyscrapers because I come from a very big city and we have an abundance of skyscrapers. But unfortunately, historical parts of the city have, been ruined and they haven't been maintained. So I really do advocate and believe in maintaining the old. And that's why I love Rome so much because I feel in Rome they've done such a beautiful job of combining the old with the new. And my favorite place in Rome is on the Spanish Steps. If you sit, you can see the Chanel or the Prada boutique, and it's just encased into the old facade. So you can't tell when the old starts and the new begins. It's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in Ireland, all of our cities are quite historic. We don't have any skyscrapers at all, really. So that was one thing I found very exciting in Milan, that suddenly I could see these big mesmerizing buildings. But I do love historical architecture. I think, like you said, a kind of balance between the two is very satisfying. It's the best of both worlds, I think. Yeah.
Mhm.
So what else can we say about New York? How is the food?
So I don't think America is known for its food culture as much as it's known for its junk food culture, right?
Yeah,
You get
def-
the world's best junk food there, and I love junk food. I love
you
food, period.
do. Yeah.
And junk food does have a special place in my heart, absolutely. Um,
Mm.
I love a good donut.
Oh
Mm,
yeah. No, I love a good
you know,
donut too. It's very American. Yeah, very
it
bad.
is very important. Absolutely. I love a good donut. I love some, waffles with truckload of chocolate sauce
Oh wow, yeah, very
and things like
indulgent. Yeah,
that.
yeah, I think
Absolutely. And mhm.
yeah, I think that's definitely kind of America's tradition, which yeah, I mean, love it or hate it, it's the way it is. But I think also because New York is so diverse, so big, so cosmopolitan, they have all the cuisines of the world, a bit like London or I think not really Paris. Paris is more traditional, but certainly I think London and New York are a bit like that.
Yep. Yeah, like you can probably get a Korean barbecue at 2 a.m.
Yeah. Who doesn't want that? Okay,
Yeah,
great.
I could do with some right now.
Yeah. So the hotels, you didn't get to finish telling us about your preference for Airbnb in Barcelona. Why do you prefer Airbnb?
Because it's cheaper predominantly. So mainly because it's cheaper, it tends to be more convenient. And with Airbnb, you usually have a host who could probably give you some pointers on how to explore the city like a local. At a hotel, the concierge could probably help you, but the advice you would get would be very touristy.
Hmm,
So
yeah, no, that's a great point.
that's another
Hmm.
reason I prefer Airbnbs.
Okay, yeah. I think New York is definitely expensive. I don't really
Mm-hmm.
know, but I have a feeling that it is. My friend who lives there says that she has to get taxis quite often because of the transport system there. It's a bit crazy. It's not very reliable. So taxis are very
Oh,
expensive generally, I think.
definitely.
Mm,
Um, I
they-
I believe New York obviously has a reputation for being really expensive, and I think it's probably like the second or third most expensive city in the world.
mm, yeah, no, I'd say so, definitely. And the
Rent is insanely expensive there as well.
Yeah, no, my friend, she lives in Brooklyn. It's impossible to live in Manhattan, and even Brooklyn would be very, very expensive. Yeah, we're not really selling New York well, are we?
No,
I mean, I don't really know what I'm talking about.
okay, but if you are looking for billionaires, New York is the city to go. It has 100 billionaires in it. It's the only city in the world
Really?
with, yeah,
Top tip, yeah. Go find a billionaire to marry.
or don't, you got this girl.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. It's worth seeing, just
Definitely.
checking. And I think the weather is not
Mm,
great either at any time of year. In winter, it's too cold, and in summer, it's too hot, I believe. It's
mhm.
humid, very humid, I think, a bit like Milan. I think any big city tends to have bad weather. All the people make it humid, make it not very airy, I think.
Right. Yep, I think the weather is similar to Milan, except I think during the winters it might be colder because it's
Mm.
further up north.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. They definitely get snow every single year. I know that.
Hmm.
Might be nice, depending. So, very good. So we were looking at three cities. Now let's look at economy versus luxury. So are
Hmm.
these features economy or luxury? What's the difference between economy and luxury, Michelle?
Okay, so economy is basically when you want something that is more budget friendly. So you're not going to get the best of the best. Whereas if you look at luxury, that is the top tier, you get the best of the best. So let's look at the hotel example. So an economy hotel would probably be a bread and breakfast, an Airbnb, and a luxury hotel would be a five-star or even a seven-star hotel.
Wow. Yes, five-star and bed and breakfast. Yeah, I quite like a bed and breakfast if you're staying in the countryside. I think they can be very charming.
Absolutely. I once stayed in a bed and breakfast in Como, not in Como itself, but one of the towns around Como. And it was a lovely experience, really quaint, charming, um,
Mm.
by the lake. It was beautiful.
Yeah, what would you say quaint means? How would you define quaint?
Okay, quaint is, I like this word, but I guess we don't use it that much. It means something that is attractive, but very old-fashioned.
Yeah, it's kind of positive for old-fashioned.
But if you were to call an individual quaint, it would not be positive. But if you call places like buildings and
Yeah,
structured spaces, then that's fine.
yeah. We have an ensuite bathroom,
Mm.
a nice French word. Do you like an ensuite bathroom, Michelle?
Honey, I don't take any other kind.
Really? You like them?
For sure, because it's clean, like it's yours, and there aren't 500 people using them.
I suppose, yeah, if you're staying in something like a hotel. But personally, when people have them in their own house,
Mm,
I'm a bit skeptical because I find that a very small bathroom like that, I'm not a big fan. I want a bigger bathroom generally, if possible, because I find the little bathrooms get very steamy, get very very, I don't damp. But still, it's a nice luxury, I think, in a hotel. So definitely in the luxury bracket.
definitely, I agree with you. Within like my daily life at home, I prefer it outside, so it can be bigger, more spacious. But in a hotel, I would prefer it attached to the room.
Yeah, definitely. And a pickup from the airport. Have you ever gotten off the plane and had someone with a sign for you? That's my dream.
I have a couple
Oh,
of them.
wow. That's,
Yeah, it was cute.
yeah, yeah. Definitely luxury, I'd say.
But to be fair, one of those times it was my mom. So I don't know if it
No, no, that's still luxury to be, that's the best. Hmm.
counts.
A jacuzzi. Again, I don't really like jacuzzis. I don't trust jacuzzis. I think about who's been in there.
Yeah.
Mm,
I don't mind the jacuzzi if, like, it's en suite, just like the bathroom. So if it's with the bathroom, as in the bathroom, I'm okay with that. And I wouldn't mind spraying it down with some disinfectant before I go in.
yeah.
But if it was like out and about, yeah, I don't know how I would feel about that.
Mm,
No, I've been to jacuzzis at spas as well, so yeah, it's okay.
yeah, no, I think it is a bit of a luxury experience anyway.
Definitely.
Then we have self-catering, which is certainly the Airbnb experience. I think
Yeah.
it's economy, but
Mhm.
I do like the option to self-cater, to have a kitchen, because to me, to eat out lunch and dinner every day, it's not just that it's expensive, but I
Mhm.
like to cook at least once a day for one of my meals.
Lovely.
Mm. Full board. I don't actually know what that is.
That's when they offer you, breakfast, lunch, dinner at the hotel itself.
Okay. I do love a hotel breakfast. I love a
Hmm.
hotel breakfast buffet. There's nothing quite wrong with that.
So good. So good. So good.
Yeah. Hmm. Not a big one for group outings and trips. I
Hmm.
actually really don't like going on tours of by bus or walking or in a museum. I just like to go at my own pace. Do you like to do tours or trips like that?
No, not really, because I like to move at my, on my own pace, at my own pace. So, for example, if I'm on a holiday, I don't want to wake up at 6 a.m. and rush down, so I can have breakfast at 7, so I can be in the bus at 7:30. That's not relaxing for me. So,
No.
I prefer to do things at my own pace, explore the town myself, download a couple of, guidebooks, read through them. I think it's part of the experience.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it depends what you're into. But the last one, flying first class, definitely luxury. I have not ever flown for first class. Again, experiences, present perfect. I have never flown first class. Have you, Michelle?
No, I have most
No.
certainly not flown first class.
Yeah, I think it would be nice, definitely, especially on a long haul flight. I mean,
Mm,
for around Europe, it's okay, but if I was going further, I might consider it.
yep.
Hmm. So we're finishing up for time here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Anything to add, Michelle? It was just kind of a bit of a chatty a chatty webinar between us two today, but I hoped you learned something.
Thank you for joining us and staying with us. We hope to see you soon. And if you have any questions, you can always hit us up on Facebook or on Insta, and one of the teachers will get back to you. On
Yeah.
Facebook, we are SOS, My S English.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a great thing to do if you have a question that you've always wanted answered. Anyway, I think we'll finish up.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about the technical difficulties in the middle, but I think we made the best of it anyway. All right. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.